Hey Brian,
Hey
can
Sam,
you hear me?
how's it going?
Great. And how are you feeling?
Oh, much better, thanks.
Oh,
Much
great,
better.
great. I have to say, I'm incredibly excited about this about this vibecast or this chat between us because I've been having like every time I have like these very clear thoughts or like these good thoughts, I just think, oh man, I can't wait to talk to Brian about it. And it's been 3 weeks since we last chatted.
Yeah, let's light this candle. We got lots of things to talk about today.
I know. I almost don't even know where to start because like so many announcements over the last couple of days. I mean, I haven't even caught up with, well, I think I've caught up with them like high level, but I haven't used anything. I haven't even had a chance to dive into anything. But man, Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, just
The
all
Microsoft one
announcing.
seems like a year ago.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Um, I have to tell you though. I don't know how you felt about the Microsoft one, but this is the first time in 2.5 years I'm actually kind of excited about what Microsoft have put out. I know that they've put out a lot of like vaporware and just like nothing sort of has really come off in the past, but finally I can see I can get excited about the future, like the agentic future. Like I kind of believe in this. And so anyway, I haven't used anything that they've put out and I don't even know if it's ready. And most people think that none of the stuff they put out ever works. But anyway, I was quite excited about all the things that they were doing.
I heard a good analysis, and somebody said it's a burn the boat strategy that they're just banking everything on Copilot, and
Yeah.
if that doesn't come through, and I have my reasons why I think it's not going to. Um,
Ah, interesting. Okay.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it is. I agree that it's a roll the dice strategy. You know,
Mm.
that if that doesn't work out, it just seems like they've kind of banked everything on that.
Yeah. But Satya is just such a brilliant storyteller. I mean, he is
He is
the
good.
best. He's the best out there. Like when you listen to him, I mean, I kind of actually feel he's kind of carried Microsoft for the last 2 years, like in terms of like what they've done. He just gets out there and tells this amazing story, and you're just like, wow, okay, yeah, yeah, I buy into it. Like that's kind of how I felt. I watched an interview of him the other day, and explaining the agentic era, the agentic world that they're building. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, this sounds good.
I mean, the one I got to say, the one that I was just bowled over by was Google. Hey,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah, yeah. Well, do you want to
Um,
do a bit of a highlight package there? Because like honestly, there were so many things. Like I
so
can't, I
much.
can't, I can't even remember half of them.
I mean, it's funny. I didn't go through and I
We've got,
didn't
we've
go
got, we've
through.
got. Is this our first guest to our Vibecast?
It might be. It might, and it's actually not who I thought it would be because I've got my other cat, Keely, is who I call Data Cat, and she's the one who stays down here with me all the time. This is Nico, and I think she's just trolling for treats. Um, but I didn't actually go through and kind of summarize like all the things that popped out there, but the amazing thing to me was it was everything from data science to improvements in the Gemini model, which is already like lights out good.
Mm,
I think pretty far ahead. I haven't had a chance to test out Claude 4, but
yeah.
the Gemini model is just phenomenal. And the other thing that I found is the Flash 2.5 model is really good. And
Yep.
the thing I'm finding that is kind of surprising is, I've always focused on the big hitters, the top of the line, frontier LRMs.
Mhm.
And I'm finding now the more I get into MCP and agents, the more the mini models are kind of the key, because
Interesting.
I'm
And
just
why,
not
why, why, why
running
is that?
because it gets really frustrating if you throw a huge frontier LRM at an MCP sequence because it'll just think and think and think and it'll throw tokens and it'll cost you a
Right,
lot of money. Whereas
right.
what you want is you want something smart and fast. You want you
Mm,
want that you want that system to feel like it's responding. And it
mm,
doesn't need to be, it's not like it's solving competitive math problems. It's just,
Yeah.
it's figuring out which tool to call and responding to your input. And so it doesn't
Yeah.
need to be brilliant. It needs to be smart and fast.
Yeah.
And I feel, and the other thing is it needs to be cheap, particularly if you're not running, like what I'm doing mostly now is I'm running everything through Open Router so that I've got
Yeah.
the flexibility to use whatever model I want and I can switch
Yeah.
on the fly. And so, it's really nice to have a super cheap smart mini model. And
Mm.
Flash just seems to be the one right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we use Flash in no code, and I've been using it. I've actually been using Google's models more than any other in a lot of the
Me
apps that
too.
I'm building because they're so cheap. They're incredibly cheap. I mean, some of them OpenAI are cheap as well, but they're cheap, they're fast, they've got variety. You know how last time I talked about, there is strategy behind having all these different types of models. It's because in AI, there's so many different products you can layer on different types of models. Like, for example, you want a really, really fast and cheap model for voice, for example,
Hmm.
and that's what like Google Flash is just like the workhorse. It's going to be the embedded workhorse or for a lot of these voice applications you're seeing. Like 11 Labs, for example, uses Flash 2.0 out of the box. Like that's the default that they use. So, um, that's interesting that it sort of also applies to MCP. I'm not
Yes.
having a lot of success with MCP inside of Windsurf, I have to say, like because I want it to connect to Superbase, and it just does loops. It just like loops and loops and loops. I'm just not having the success, like the seamless experience that you would expect. I mean, I can see how it would be absolutely game changing, but it's just not totally seamless in that environment just yet.
I didn't have a lot of luck with windsurf either. And,
Mm.
everybody's kind of at different stages. And I would say, I published a big post about this the other day and how I really like Code as the client. I've tried like a million clients, and
Yeah.
Code seems to be the one. If you're looking for like the one that's going to be like super flexible, Code is that. But I would say for starters, start with Claude because Anthropic, because they developed the MCP protocol, they kind of have the secret sauce baked into Claude that it just runs so smoothly. And I still find, even though I really like the flexibility of Code and I like not being tied to the Anthropic models,
Yeah.
for certain things, Claude just works better. And I actually
Mm.
just did a thing where I was first of all, I want to thank you for getting me into Supabase because that is gold. I mean,
Right.
the stuff I can do now, like with natural language in that, is blowing my mind.
Yeah. Just it's just abstracted away like so much incredibly hard stuff on the back end side, hasn't it? Like just to spin up a database it's just so easy. It's
It,
unbelievable. Like and we know from our backgrounds like modeling and database and all that. It's bloody hard. It's bloody historically it's hard. And honestly, you can just talk to natural language and get it all done for you. It is quite an amazing product, isn't it? I mean, they're valued at like 2 billion now.
which seems like an undervalue to me. I mean,
Definitely, if they're the underpinnings of a lot of this new wave of apps that's coming on stream. Absolutely.
if when I saw that OpenAI paid 3 billion for windsurf, but the thing that has impressed me so much about Supabase is how smart it is when you hook it to a good model. Like I was running it with Claude 4 today, and
Yeah.
I had a data set from Washington, D.C., and I uploaded, I said, create a new Superbase project, upload these two tables, and it created a new project for me. It estimated the cost. It then said, oh, this data needs to be unpivoted. This data needs to be cleaned. And if you want to join the zip code data over, this needs to be done. And I'm like, do all those things.
Wow.
And
So you were actually using it as like a data query transformation type tool.
oh yeah, I actually do natural language data cleaning with it now. Like
Wow. So that
I
yeah, wow. That's so I mean, I had that I've got that vision, but that's amazing. That's so cool.
I mean, it's so easy too. It's like
Yeah.
the other last night, so there was a really good challenge that somebody submitted to VJ for the Excel BI. It was about 4 or 5 days ago, and I wrote about it, and it's just a great kind of threshold test, I think, for data analysts. It's like if you can clean that data set, that challenge was like the minimum skills threshold, I would say, for a data analyst. Like
Yeah.
if you can't clean that data set, you've got some work to do.
Yeah.
And so I submitted my response in M code, and then I said, well, let me throw that data into Supabase and let me just try cleaning it with natural language. And
Yeah.
I just sat there last night for literally 10 minutes and just said, okay, create a field that's, a 3 character representation of the month.
Mm.
Okay, now unpivot that data and merge it with the exchange rate table. And
Yeah.
now create a field that's exchange rate times price times quantity and unpivot the data. And it just snaps through. I mean, if you know what you want to do, and to me,
Mm.
it was kind of a perfect illustration of you need to bring the expertise of what you want to do to transform the data, but you don't
Mm.
actually need to know how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We have such a good insight into this, right? Because we were, we've been big into Power Query, big into the Power BI universe. There was a reason why those tools have done so well, particularly
Yeah.
Power Query, right? Because it's just point and click. They made a lot of that data transformation stuff incredibly easy. But I think a lot of those who are in that world right now forget that look, you can do data transformation in actually lots of ways. You can use Python, you can use SQL. Like Power Query is
Right.
not the only way you can do data transformation. And what's happening with these AI tools is that they can write perfect SQL now. They can write perfect Python now. And so,
Supabase just does everything in
yeah,
SQL. It just
it,
does
it does
SQL
like
execute.
when I'm creating databases from Lovable for apps, like the SQL is so detailed and comprehensive. It's unbelievable. And so it's actually becoming easier to transform and manage your data using SQL and using natural language than what it was in
Yeah.
Power Query. Like this is the trend that I think we're both seeing. But but it just wasn't even possible 6 months ago, right? Because the models weren't good enough. But now the models are so good and reliable that you can actually do this stuff now. Like there's just been this massive unlock. As soon as the models have got like they're superior, there's just all these new ways of doing things. It's really, really incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the thing that it was interesting because in response to your post last night, I started thinking about it, and I just have a million thoughts now about the way I use my computer is totally changed in the last month. Like
I
that.
had the same feeling yesterday. I'll tell you. You go first, and I'll tell you what I was doing yesterday. I was like,
Well,
unbelievable.
the interesting thing is like apps are meaningless. The operating system is meaningless. Basically, I spend almost all my time inside my MCP client. And I don't use apps anymore. That I just call tools. And it sounds like a semantic difference, but it's not. Because with apps, you need to basically be manually carrying your data from here to download it from the browser, to put it into, Power BI, clean it, export it to, to, to RStudio to do your statistics, then take it out
Mm,
and put it into, QGIS to do your GIS. I just did an analysis where I uploaded the data. I said, throw it into Supabase. I cleaned
yeah.
it, transformed it. Then I analyzed it. Um, then I had it map the data, create an interactive display for that map data, and then georeferenced aerial photo layers and had it overlay those basically by user selection. So I had street
Mm,
level stuff, I had aerial shots, I had topographic maps.
hmm.
And I'm literally just doing this natural language
With your
with my
voice most.
voice. Not a single keyboard entry
Yeah.
other than return to, accept the voice command, and no mouse action. I'm
Yeah.
basically just narrating what I wanted to do. And it would say, okay, like I'm having problems georeferencing this. How do you want to proceed? And I said, well, give
Yeah.
me, give me your options of what you're thinking. And it'll say, okay, like we can download the USGS layer. We can we can use the DC overhead, layer in JPEG. We can do
Hmm.
this. And then I would say, okay, let's try this. And if that didn't work, I'd say, okay, let's work on the visualization for a while. And we worked on it, and when we went back to the map layer, and I'll show you. I mean, it's fantastic, and it took me an hour, and I
Yeah.
never left MCP. I never touched the computer
Mm.
keyboard,
Yeah.
and it would have taken me days to do this in Power BI if I
Totally.
even could have.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Totally.
don't think I could have done this except with maybe James Dale's Icon Map Pro.
Hmm. But that's just one thing that you've done. Like, you could do.
Right.
I've got to tell you, like, how different my life is now, like around my computer. But like, when you talk it through, like, how you do that, it is just so much more scalable as well. Like, this is what I'm seeing is that not only you did that in an hour, right? But imagine doing 20 of those things in an hour, like just spinning them all up, and getting them run. Like, this is what is happening. This is what is going to be possible, like very, very, very soon, right? The AIs can just work 1,000 times faster than a human could, right? And like a lot of these things that they're all just things that models can constantly spit out, right? And you just like layer one thing on top of the other, and then you put them into loops, and then they just can just continuously go and go and go. It's honestly mind blowing. Like I have to tell you, like my mind has completely. I mean, the journey that I've been on, we've been on over the
Yeah.
last couple of years. Like, I have never in my entire career, in my life, seen so much opportunity and new ways of doing things, new ways appearing, new value generation opportunities. It is just absolutely mind blowing. Like everything in the workplace and how you actually get stuff done is going to rapidly change in the next like few years. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And so you kind of going back to your point about Microsoft, I'm thinking, okay, like what I'm doing now has no tie to Windows. It has no tie to apps. It has no tie to Office.
Hmm.
It's it's just tools, it's external
Yeah.
tools. And I frankly have no loyalty to anything now. That
Yeah.
if I see something better, I pop that tool out, I plug the new one in. If
Hmm.
there's a better client, I basically just go to Pipedream and say, okay, hook me up, in the new client.
Hmm.
And you know, there's I mean, I think about how sticky Windows is because once you install it, it's like, God, you're stuck with it for 30 years.
Hmm.
And now it's like you're not stuck with anything.
Mm.
I mean, I
Well,
think in some
I mean,
respects
Satch has been
your
saying this for like
client
a
is your
year.
operating system.
Yeah. The famous guy that came up with the term vibe coding. I remember reading something he said a year ago, um, maybe even 2 years ago. Like AI is the new operating system. Like that's his exact words that he said,
Yeah.
and that really opened my eyes at the time. But I mean, it's still hasn't happened yet. Like I just don't know how that um, disruption happens that quickly, honestly. But no, so like Satcher's been saying this for a long time. Like that is what everything that you're saying, right? Like you got to admit that that is should be the strategy for Microsoft. If you're saying that that is the future, well then they should all be all in on Copilot, shouldn't they? Because it is just a better experience. And so their competitive advantage long term is their vendor lock-in, like the data within their environment, like that's so hard to change, I just, I've just sort of doubled down on my view that big tech are just going to get much, much bigger in this new era, right? Like, I don't think there's any disruption for big tech. They are going to absolutely own this AI era. I think it's their game and we're just playing in it, honestly. Like everything accrues up to the big tech from what I am seeing. There's lots of these niche opportunities absolutely everywhere. And like I think AI is opening up a lot of those, but at the end of the day, they are taxing intelligence. Like as I think I said in a recent Vibecast, like every little thing that happens somehow will go through these big tech servers or these big tech infrastructure, and they'll take a small little slice every single time. Even if Power BI gets disrupted, and a new way of doing things appears, which like it's going to happen. A new way of doing email, like email. If you think about email, it's so inefficient, right? Like, why couldn't you just voice activate that now? Like, that's sort of where that's going. Um, but at the end of the day, they've still got the infrastructure. They've still got all these big things. Like they are going to absolutely crush it. I just have no doubt. Even if these strategies don't sort of aren't as successful as they are probably hoping.
It's hard to say, I mean, who can know? It's like I can't even
Yeah.
predict what's going to happen next week. But
Yeah.
if I were any of these firms, would make me nervous is, you've always been able to count on the fact that integration means something. And that Copilot inside of Power BI is easier and better for some people than having to go externally to Google or externally to
Mm.
Claude. But now, under the fact that everybody's cast their lot with MCP, and it's so it's going to get easier and easier to just add tools in. That basically whatever model you're using can easily become your MCP client. Google's got that now. I just saw OpenAI partnered with Zapier, and so did Anthropic. And Zapier's got a great infrastructure. You just basically link Zapier to your MCP client, and you've got 8,000 tools without having to configure anything.
Yeah.
And they have been for 10 years basically they've been building the thing that all of a sudden everybody needs.
Mm.
And they've kind of they're kind of selling shovels in the gold rush right now.
Yeah.
And
But don't you think like like I see this with OpenAI in particular, and I'm sure all the others will catch up. Like I just see everything accruing to these main AI platforms. Like I just think about my own behavior during the day, right? Like I spend half my day in ChatGPT, half my day, and MCP hasn't even started yet in ChatGPT. Basically, like I was yesterday. I think I talked to an AI voice in ChatGPT like 4 times about like just different things. I was using their new Codex thing, which is honestly like pretty wild when you think about the work. It's more like the workflow of like how they've actually sort of like got this set up the workflow. I can go into that in a little bit of detail. It's really fascinating. Um,
I haven't even
and
I haven't even downloaded that yet. I mean,
yeah, and then in Windsurf, like which is supposedly going to be owned by OpenAI, like I spent like I don't know 4 or 5 hours in Windsurf like alone yesterday. I actually stayed up till 2 o'clock like coding because I was just like having so many wins. I was having so many wins with the AI on one of my apps. I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. I've got to keep going. It's not always like this, like some days you just are fighting the AI. And like, yesterday I was just like crushing every feature I wanted to build. I was like getting it done, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going here. This is going well. And and so I was like, and then I got to the end of the day, I was like, holy crap, man, I have spent literally 75% of my day in a ChatGPT product. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, everything is accruing to these AI products, like these AI focused things. Like, this is why ChatGPT is unbeatable. Because soon you'll be able to like there'll be, I mean, the things that they've announced, like they're going to have a social media, they're going to have ads, they're going to have these agent workflows, like what Codex is, but they could have it for CRMs, they could have it for like core business infrastructure. Like I have no doubt they'll come out with an email client, which is way better than like Office. Like so and I think Gemini is going to be the same. It's just going to become this like center point of your life. Also, ChatGPT having memory and like it knows my past conversations. Like you're so caught up in this new AI ecosystem. Like it feels to me that everything's accruing to these things. But there's also like tons of opportunity. Like I just see, I mean, everything is being rewired right now. Everything from the online digital world to even how business is going to actually run, like what businesses you can actually build. Like it's crazy.
I mean, it's really interesting how our experiences are really diverging now, because you're in you're in ChatGPT for a huge percentage of your time. I actually canceled my subscription.
No
I
way. Wow.
I canceled the pro subscription. The minute I saw that Google Barrage, I was like, what am I paying for here? Because there's nothing that OpenAI has that isn't inferior at this point to what Google has in my $20 subscription.
Right.
Um,
Interesting.
and so I'm like, there's nothing here for me to pay $200 for. And for me, I now spend all my time in my MCP client.
Mm,
And I've got it hooked to Open Router. And so I just, if OpenAI comes out with a great model, I just click Open Router, I drop the box down, click that model. You're going to talk, the big tech's going to capture, everything. I'm kind of feeling like I'm trying to stay away from getting captured by anyone. That right now Rue code has captured me, and even that is a tenuous grasp, and everything else is just a drop down selection for me.
like everything is being rewired now. Like it is the inflection point of inflection points. Like there's never been a bigger inflection point in my entire career. No, in probably both our careers. I think we probably align there, right? Like AI
Yeah.
is bigger than the internet. I've thought this for a long time, and every day I'm in this, I've no doubt. Like it is rewiring everything. Um, just being able to layer that level of intelligence into a workflow or into creation of a business or a new application, like it's incredible. Like I am so deep into this app development space now. Like but I am basically an app developer at this point. Like that's what I spend like at least 5 to 6 hours a day doing, and I also am managing apps that my developers are now building with AI. Like our output is obscene right now. Like we are just using every AI thing that we can get our hands on to help us build stuff. It is absolutely not perfect, like what the AIs build, but it gets you going and it gets you something workable, a prototype, and you can, that's and you can work hard to refactor it and make it better. Like it's just a completely new way of doing things. Like it is opening up so many opportunities for enterprise DNA right now, and we're just like all in going after these. Like it's unbelievable.
What are you seeing as the best tools that are kind of rising to the top at the moment?
Well, my combination that I like is Lovable, and that's because it's just great for quick prototyping. And the best thing about it is the integrations into Superbase. That's how I got introduced to Superbase, and the integration to GitHub. Like it just takes hard stuff and makes it insanely simple. Like the code is not perfect. It's definitely wouldn't be deemed as perfect code from a real developer, but it can get the job done to a working prototype. Like for example, I built myself our new AI Builders HQ community for Enterprise DNA, right? I didn't like our old one. I built it myself. I probably spent in total 30 hours on it. And I built like I was in Lovable for 95% of that. And then I've moved out into windsurf now, but just I was able to get so far just with Lovable. And then it just started breaking a little bit and I had to move out. But I've got the core infrastructure of this website up. We've got people using it. It's like I created my own social media based website and community website in 30 hours. Like it's just insane. Isn't
It
that
is.
just crazy? I mean, and I didn't even know what GitHub was 12 months ago. Like
Yeah.
it's just amazing. And that's just one of about 10 things we're working on at the moment. Like I love windsurf. I've really loved windsurf. I've been using Cursor a little bit as well, but I've just always leaned into windsurf. Always really liked it. And
Have you played
um,
with that new software engineering agent they've got?
on windsurf or Cursor.
Yeah, on Windsurf came out with this thing called SWE1.
Oh, really?
Um,
No, I don't know. Oh, isn't that just their own model?
yeah, but it's got some like agent features for software development. It's not something I've played with at all, but I've heard a lot of people who use it say it's really good.
Yeah, interesting. No, I haven't. I think that is like a model selection on their things like from memory. But I've been having a lot of success with GPT 4.1. I've found it's really precise. Like a lot of the older models like Claude and mainly Claude because that was the one that was all the rage like 3 to 6 months ago. It just goes off track. Like it just doesn't listen. But
Yeah.
4.1 is like really precise. You can give it like context of a file, and you can say, I want to change this element. I want to change this element. I want to change this around in the page. I want to refactor this code into different components, and it does it. It just does it. It does what you say. It does what you ask. Not all the time, but like most of the time, like more than any other model. So, I've been using that a lot, and some days it gets incredibly frustrating. But the one thing that I have just really gotten good at in the last like month, 2, 3 months, um, is I just know what I'm doing. I just know what I'm doing. I know precisely like how to architect a solution. Like when I was like vibe coding 6 months ago, like I didn't really know. Like I kind of had an idea, but I'm just multiple times better, and I can be super precise in what I'm asking for now. All the right terminology, all the right ways to organize things in your application, and my like output has just skyrocketed. And my experiences with the AI is skyrocket as well. I'm still not perfect. Like if you ask my developers, they think that I'm still I'm doing things in a very suboptimal way, but I'm getting it done. Like
Yeah.
we're just building like crazy at the moment, and building some cool stuff, like some really really cool stuff right now.
Oh, I'm blanking on the name. It's the one that pulls the metadata for Power BI
Oh yeah,
and
Power Vibes. Yep. So we released that.
yeah, that is hot.
Yeah, so I reckon this is such a cool application, and we're just getting the word out at the moment. The hardest thing with this app was getting the metadata extraction tool working. Like, oh my God, and still it's creating the most pain. Like, it's because of like the Windows operating system. It's reading everything as some like security risk and cybersecurity things that like sending out alerts when you try and download it, but it's literally a wrapper for an open source project. There's like nothing wrong with it. We've been talking about this ever since we restarted our podcast, right? Like there's so many of these niche opportunities now that just didn't even make sense. It didn't even make sense to do it before this like vibe coding era, right? Like, but now it's become so much easier. Like these use cases of just automating, Power BI advice, on your model, on your metadata. Like it just makes sense now because like we were able to do it for far less cost and far less time. And so, we've put it out there and we've got like quite a few users so far. If you're developing Power BI reports, the ability to talk to your data model is so helpful,
Huge.
right? And then when you ask for a formula, getting the formula with the exact right names and column names and other things like other measure names, because it can see the model, it can see everything
Right.
in the model. Like if you go to ChatGPT, unless you like go and create the metadata and put it in there, it just doesn't do it for you. You have to like rearrange everything. So like, we've really solved quite a few things there, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing because I did a big post about a week ago where what I did was I took all five of the best frontier models for DAX,
Yeah.
lined them up in Open Router and prompted them at the same time and said, I'm a senior Power BI developer. I'm trying to solve a very complex DAX problem. Give me your best guidance for how to prompt you to maximize my chance of success.
Right.
And the interesting thing was I got back incredible guidance. I mean, this is one thing that I'm learning is that, you know, what you were saying in terms of that you've gotten really good at specifying what you want. I think I've also gotten really good at prompting for analysis. And the
Right.
other thing is I've gotten really good at being open to kind of flipping the roles and saying, okay, like here's my prompt. Like you analyze it and give it back to me. When you get into those interactive conversations, what you end up with is phenomenal. And so what it told me was really interesting that, I've been for 2 years now, I've been, shouting on the street corner about you gotta give it information about the model. And the way to do that is with the BIM file.
Yep.
And it said, not really, that's pretty good. But what is better is to trim the information down to only that which is really relevant. So, basically take the TMDL export, trim down to only the tables that are relevant for that DAX and the relationships and the measures that are relevant for that problem, and provide that along with an accounting of what you're what you've tried to do and why it didn't work. You have to know
Mm,
why it didn't work. You can just say, okay, like this produced just, null responses for anything over, a value of 30. And
mm,
and
mm,
then it'll say, okay, I got you. And
mm,
it'll take it from there. And a lot of times you can just throw the BIM file in. I mean, if my strategy is now kind of what I call tiered laziness, that I kind of try the simplest thing, and if that works, I'm done.
mm,
And then if that doesn't work, then I go back and do it right,
mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
and so,
Well,
the BIM
it's
file
interesting
is
you say that. Yeah, really interesting.
very wasteful, but in some cases, most cases, it works fine.
You know, what you just described is basically what we have done with Power Vibes. Because what we do is we take the metadata in its rawest form, or we kind of massage it a little bit to like trim it down from the BIM, because the BIM files can get really long with like a
Right.
whole lot of stuff you don't even need. So we, in our extractor tool, we extract the BIM effectively. We then run our own sort of Python code to clean it all up. Then we put it into Power. Then you put it into Power Vibes. Then we run like a whole lot of AI automations to break out exactly what you just said, to break out just the SQL model, just the SQL model. So like that's all you have. Then we break
Mhm.
out every formula you have, every M code that you have. And then there was one other thing we do. And that is what we then put into the context for chat to your data model. So you have this incredibly refined context for every discussion you have. It's not this BIM file that's like hundreds of thousands of rows long. It's actually like
Right.
really condensed. And then every time you ask a question in the ask the data model thing, that is in the context every single time. So that's how you can get your formulas with you can do measure branching basically. You can do measure branching because it's seeing that you have this measure, and then it's seeing that you have these tables. It's see you has have these columns, and then it can come up with your formula exactly formatted correctly. I mean, it's so powerful. I mean, I'm I'm amazed and sort of proud that like we've actually figured this out. Like there's just and that is just like I just cannot stress this enough. There's just one example that there's hundreds of thousands of examples honestly like that probably globally like of what you can do. Every little niche can have this layer of an AI intelligence just layered in, and you can just do things so much smarter and so much more efficiently. Like I think you could easily create just with Power Hives alone. I mean, we know like you could even create a Power BI report probably in 25% of the time historically just using AI, right? But I think Power BI improves that, Power Vibes improves that even more because it's like actually very specific to your actual reports to you. And every time you build out your report, all you have to do is re-download your metadata, throw it into Power Vibes, and then do it again, do it again, do it again. So, it's a really it's a really quick feedback loop around your development.
Yeah, I mean being able to have it automatically strip the metadata,
Mm.
format it, kind of put it into memory, and then be able to just chat with it. I mean that is
Don't you,
phenomenal.
don't you like, is it amazing, or do you shake your head when you ran that survey and about 50% of people weren't even using AI? I shake my head when we know you can develop things in 25% of the time, basically. And, we've now got this power, like we've developed a tool which basically can automate, and we think we can make Power Fives better. Like we think that we can actually layer 30 more AI automations to basically tell you down to the last measure that you need to create. Like we think we can one shot an entire Power BI report if you just give it the model, honestly. Like that's what we think we can probably get Power Vibes to now with the base that we've built. And 50% of people using Power BI on your survey aren't even using AI. I just like want to bang my head against it. Well, what are they doing?
Yeah, and I mean it's interesting. It's hard for me. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say because, you know, when I started, when we first knew each other, we were all just about Power BI, and now I just find myself I can't get interested in it. It's it's basically like DAX is solved, M code is
Yeah.
solved. The visualization is still an interesting issue to me. And I think that one is. I mean, the one thing that I heard from the Google from the Google I/O this week was there's a guy named Connor Grenham. Do you Connor Grennan? He's the chief
Yeah.
AI architect at NYU, and he's
Mm,
really plugged into all these companies. And what he said is he was actually invited out ahead of the I/O conference to meet with Google, and they showed him everything. And one of the things he talked about was that they've got a data visualization back end coming out, and they're actually going to integrate it directly into Google search, which
mm,
is kind of remarkable. I mean, to think about being able to do data analysis right in your Google search. I mean, that kind of elevates data analysis to a level of kind of public awareness I never thought we'd see. But
mm,
if
mm.
they've got the horsepower of, Gemini, and then the focused training on data analysis, that may be the last piece.
Yeah. But I can already I think that we just see the writing on the wall. I think Power BI is still mightily important. I still think it's got a very long future ahead of it. But they don't seem to be changing it for the changing times. Like I sort of feel right. Like I even stated this publicly like 6 months ago. What are they doing? Like there is so much more you could do to make Power BI easier. They could have basically created Power Vibes in Power BI. Like what are they doing? What are they doing? Um, and I think things are going to change even more, right? Like there's just so much ways you can simplify it. But I've seen nothing. We have seen nothing done there. I think they maybe made some small inroads, like there was some button that you could get your data ready for AI or something that I saw, but whatever that means, I don't even know. Like I've kickstarted this build along series where I'm building data agents. Like
Mhm.
I'm telling you, you could run agents hundreds and like thousands of times a day for basically nothing, doing data analysis a completely different way, right? Like building a dashboard and a report is going to go in the future be seen as incredibly inefficient. I feel like you are going to be able to run agents on singular analysis just constantly, right? Like, so, you'll say you want some sort of time series chart. Well, your agent might run that like 20 times during the day. And then you'll be in some chat experience and you'll be like, okay, what was the sales in the last like couple of hours? And it will just bring that chart to you. It will just bring that information to you in text and in a visual. It's just going to render in a completely different way. Um, and like I'm building it. I'm building a prototype. I don't know how far I'm gonna get. I don't even. But even I think I'm like 4 or 5 hours in, and I'm amazed at how far I've got like already. Like I'm at the point where I'm trying to call Claude Sonnet 3.7 to create the visualization. Like I've uploaded the data. I've run AI across the data to figure out what analysis we should do. I've then got AI to create the SQL code to segment the data into smaller subsets. And now I need to get Claude or one of these I, like better AI models to build the visualization with like JavaScript code or whatever code we
Right.
decide. It could be Python code, it could be whatever. And so once I have that nailed on the small little subset of data, um, then then it's about scaling it up. It's like, okay, can we work on a piece of data that has 100,000 rows? Can we create 100 types of analysis and just get the AI to loop through creating the visualizations one after the other, one after the other? There's a new way of doing things which is like already possible now, like and it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be coming at you in so many different ways, I think. I mean, we could build it.
Yeah.
I think we're slowly going to build out this prototype together, and we can keep talking about it on this medium.
It was kind of a bad timing thing in the sense that I was super sick for the last like 10 days. Like I had this respiratory thing and I got behind, I was just sleeping a lot and coughing a lot. And I was watching like every day. You're dropping like 90 minutes of video
Mm,
and you're making like big progress on this. And it's one of those things that I want to follow along and I want to kind of build along with you because I just haven't. I've got the concepts, but in terms of kind of where you are, in terms of really knowing how to use these tools effectively, I'm
Mm,
not there. I'm way
yeah,
behind on kind of like the way you're feeling behind on MCP. I'm feeling behind on the app development stuff,
yeah,
and I thought, this is going to be the perfect, perfect chance to do that. And then I got sick, and then like every AI model company dropped like their entire,
yeah.
Christmas sack of presents on the same week. And so, yeah, I'm definitely sympathetic to the people who are just feeling like, man, I'm just so far behind. I can't. It almost feels like you're just swimming against this incredibly strong tide that just never stops.
It's so true. I mean, it is. There's absolutely hardly anyone on the planet who is able to keep up with all the stuff. Like, there's never been a release cycle this immense, this fast, and this like with this big of an inflection point. Like, it's crazy. It's virtually unbelievable, honestly. This is also like it's also just such an incredible time for those who want to be opportunistic. Like this is where extreme value gets generated for yourself personally, for a business. Like these are the sort of moments. That this is the time to really figure it out. Like get into it and just figure it out. Like that's what we're doing. I'm trying my best to find ways through enterprise DNA. We are evolving, but we still got the online learning and training and stuff. Um, I'm constantly trying to find ways to get the message out there. Like it's not actually that easy. It's not that easy. Like we can create a course, right? But then still it probably won't. It will have some sort of impact, but it won't have as big of an impact as I wanted to. I can create these events, and then we only have 10 people show up. Like it's
Right.
it's hard. It's really hard to get the message out right now, like to as wide as we want. I'm not like I think there's a few reasons why. I mean, all we can do is keep trying, keep showing, keep actually doing. Like, one of the things that I don't want to be is just someone who just talks about it. I want us to show. Like we've got to actually showcase, you know. I am talking about it, but at the same time, we're backing it up with like this is actually what you can do now, This is highly transformational within business. I've got some ideas
And
like I mean, lately I've been thinking we need to resource up, like we need more people. We need more people. Like I haven't thought that way for a long time, but like,
yeah.
maybe, I can't do it all. I can't. Even live streaming every day is hard for me with all my commitments at the moment. But I'm trying to.
And I think even the metrics, like the old metrics, don't mean anything anymore, because you're probably looking and saying, okay, I'm cranking out all these videos. The views are much less than what we would have gotten on Power BI.
Yeah.
And we had some videos that were like 60,000, 100,000 views. But in some ways, I kind of feel like the metrics themselves are not relevant anymore in a lot of ways, because like what I find is the way I learn is I dive in, I start doing, and then when I run into problems, I query AI, and then
Yep.
AI pulls me to good resources that I then go to from AI. And a lot of
Mhm.
times for some of the things I'm going to, it's like, oh, I see, here's one of Sam's videos that came up. And
Mhm.
so I'm getting there, but then what I'll do is I'll take the link and I'll throw that into Gemini and say, give me a thorough summary and timestamp everything. Those videos are incredibly helpful, but you may never see me hit those.
It's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's so true. It's so true. I mean, yeah, the way these AI models are set up, like you just like I very rarely search for information on other people's websites now, like particularly technical information. And I think everyone is going to move in that direction if they haven't already. Like you just look at some of the other numbers. Like, our informational searches on Google are have just disappeared. They've totally evaporated, right? Like specifically like technical questions. Because why would you? Why would you go to when AI can just like explain it to you? Or you can voice to it, right? So the whole entire internet used to revolve around Google. That is just being rewired like crazy right now, like rapidly. I don't see that stopping, you know. I don't see that stopping at all. Particularly, they've just come out with this like AI mode that comes up like when inside of Google now as well. Like it's a brand new thing. Like our blog, I think our blog traffic went down 90%, 90% in a year went down,
Yeah.
and it's never coming back, never coming back. So that's quite a hard thing to deal with, right? Like that used to be a big acquisition channel for us. But whether, on the whole, like, yes, it's kind of gutting on from a business perspective, put a lot of money into that, etc. But I think about my own experience. I'm like, well, look, I don't even go to any blogs anymore. So like, why, it's just reality now. So you just gotta, it's just gotta accept it. It's just reality. My take is that you got to build experiences like online these days. Like you got to build apps, you got to build experiences. This is the next wave, right? It's actually going to make the entire internet much better, by the way. Like that's what I'm very positive on it. But you need to create an experience that people come back to. That's the only way. If you want to live in this online universe as a business in the AI era, you need to find a way to keep people coming back to your websites, new ways. And that to me is kind of the strategy. Like that is what we're trying to do, right? Like Power Vibes, we want people to coming back. No code, we want to keep coming back. Online learning is just going to be a part of what enterprise DNA is now. Like it's just going to be one part of a number of different things that we're doing and we're going to get into. That transition has been not easy, and we're still in the midst of it. But that's the reality for a lot of online businesses right now. There's basically no doubt about it. You need to completely rewire. And the other thing I really wanted to touch upon this with you because it is on my mind almost daily is there's never been a time, I don't think, in our experiences online with social media that what we see, it's so refined now. Like it's so different, I think, to what it was, but like a few years ago, particularly
In
LinkedIn.
what way? In what way?
I think LinkedIn is Microsoft's version of reality. That this is what I believe, right? And yes, you can see non-Microsoft things there, but their algorithm pushes Microsoft conversation, Microsoft posts, Microsoft conversations like to you all day, every day. And it's incredibly hard to escape it. So they're basically pushing their version of reality. That's one part of it. And I've never seen so many clickbaity things on LinkedIn as well, like things that like get you sort of enraged, but like in a moderate way, like like not like politically enraged, but like just enraged by like how stupid some people's views are, and because that's what gets engagement, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like it's really gone up a level in the last like year or so, as maybe Microsoft have sort of been behind a little bit in the AI race and haven't like executed that well. Like because some of the takes I see on LinkedIn on a daily basis, I I almost get to a point I can't stand it anymore. It's just like the dumbest takes. It's just like this. I think you had the best like this fealty to like whatever Microsoft does like is the only way, like I honestly like can't even take it anymore. And that is an avenue to where that comes back to is that is an avenue to um acquire people into your universe or to acquire people to tell them about what you're doing. It's become very hard. It's like way harder than what it was. Like we've got a lot of I've got like over 30,000, you've got over 50,000. We don't get anywhere near the visibility we used to, right? Because
Yeah.
we probably don't align with the Microsoft's version of reality as much as we did maybe like 3 years ago.
It's funny. I was talking to Greg the other day, and I was kind of laughing at the fact that like the universe is kind of exploding in front of us. Like, it's this massive shift in everything we do.
Yeah.
And my my feed is filled with people who are talking about how to paste values into the new slicers. And it's like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of, and I don't mean to bag on anybody, but
I know.
it kind of reminds me of like, that thing where like when you point to something with your dog, they look at your finger, you
Yeah.
know, and not what you're pointing at. And I kind of feel like it's the same thing. Like there's so many posts that are kind of looking at the finger and not the event. It's like
Mm.
there are times I just want to scream. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, the whole world is changing. The whole
Yep.
data world is reshaping right in front of us every day. It's
Yep.
like there's got to be something more important on your mind than slicers.
This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. I think we're both sort of evolved like a lot, right? And we're seeing this new wave. Like it's a tsunami in my opinion. Like there's just such a big wave of opportunity in doing these new things in new ways. But then you go on like LinkedIn and it's just this different version of reality. Like it's like nothing's changed in half the time, or nothing's changed, or it's so anti AI. Like just not seeing the opportunity with AI. Like it's not seeing the abundance of opportunity. And like some days I just get so frustrated seeing some of the comments and seeing some of the posts that get there. And I just think they're just horrible takes. And I worry that this is what most people are reading on LinkedIn and why they're maybe so hesitant with AI. Like honestly, most of the customers I talk to, they're not even using AI. And I shake my head. I'm just like, how are you not telling every single person that they have to use AI in your organization? Like, I just can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Then I think, okay, well, Microsoft hardly even show anything or the LinkedIn hardly shows anything that is like that you can do with these things. Like, I post something about some cool thing that we're doing and that you can build with AI, and it just goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere, even though I've got 30,000 followers. Anyway, like Microsoft owns LinkedIn, they can do whatever they want. Like I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that this is what has happened. I think on LinkedIn in particular, and it was inevitable, obviously, when Microsoft bought it. Like this is
Right.
this is just business, right? It's information warfare and enterprise software. Like that's really really what's happening on there. And I think we're the same. Like we just see the massive positives of what's going on. We know it's not perfect. Some people just don't believe. They refuse to believe. I think because of their information diet. That's why. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's really become more and more critical to really tend your feed and make sure that you're getting quality content coming through that, and
Mm,
kind of weeding out the stuff that, and it's not about weeding out stuff you don't agree with, because I actually had a really good chat with somebody this morning. We didn't agree, but it almost got to kind of metaphysical questions of what is knowledge, what is learning, what is expertise. And it was a really interesting discussion. I thought, okay, like that's we didn't end up agreeing, but I thought, I think we're both better off for having had that discussion. And I kind of feel like if you curate your feed carefully and kind of weed out the noise as best you can, you're still going to get a lot of ads, you're still going to get a lot of crap that Microsoft wants you to see. But
mm,
if you can make it 40, 50% the kind of things that really stimulate your thinking and really expose you to some different views, it's still a really worthwhile community to spend time in, I think.
yeah.
And it's like I won't spend time in Twitter just because I just can't stand it.
Mm,
And I know there's value, and I know there's people providing a lot of good information. That the place I've really started spending more and more time is Medium. There's just a lot of good. I mean, it's just like anything else, that there's a lot of garbage, but there is a lot of really quality information. And I'm finding, in terms of guiding me to like the cutting edge stuff of things I've
mm,
never even heard of. Like there
yeah.
was one the other day. It's a program called Frame Pack, and it's a video generator. I'm not that big into AI video, but the thing that really caught my eye was they were saying this can generate really high quality video on consumer grade hardware with 6 gigabytes of VRAM.
Mm,
That basically, if you have a solid gaming machine, you can now generate AI video locally for free, and it's
wow.
it's quite good. It's quite good. And
Mm,
and the thing you can do is you can also generate from one frame of image. And I thought, okay, that's a really big advance. And the only place I heard anybody talk about it was on Medium. I
mm,
literally I posted about it, and even the people who I really rely on in the video sphere, there's a guy named Tianyu Zhu in Singapore. There's another guy named Chad Laufer here in the US, another guy, Rory Flynn, and
Mm,
they're kind of my trio of people I refer to on video, and
mm,
none of the three of them had heard of it,
mm.
which is kind of remarkable, given the fact that it's a pretty big technological breakthrough, I think, in the sense that it opens up a medium that most of us haven't had the ability to do locally at home for
Yeah.
free. The video is expensive. And I did want to talk to you. Have you seen the stuff that's coming out of VO3?
Yeah, I mean, it's like only like for the last 24 hours because it's so new,
Right.
but
Did
man,
you see that car show clip? That is, I mean, it would be the type of thing that it's like a minute and a half long, and
yeah,
it's like a reporter at a car show, and
yeah,
it's just people talking about like the kind of cars they like, the kind of cars they're looking for, why they
right.
like coming to the car show. And it is the type of thing that if I saw on my local newscast, I wouldn't think anything of it. And it's
Yeah,
all AI generated, including
yeah,
the voices, the sound effects, the camera work, the images. And I was kind of bowled over and horrified because, as I say,
yeah,
if that story had been on my news, I would never have questioned whether it was real or not.
yeah.
It's that good.
Well, this is the stuff that I just like find so fascinating. Just think about these three things: video, voice, and MCP. Both three incredibly large industries that have literally not even started yet. Not even started.
Yeah.
I mean, we will be creating, I think we discussed this like a month ago. We will be creating our own movies within the next like 3 to 5 years. Like probably like it is
Much sooner than that.
I know, but all it's waiting for now is the tools to actually bring all this stuff together. Like, you know, it's just, I just love talking to you about this stuff because this just sits in my mind like all day, every day, and my wife can only like Ashley can only take a little bit of my excitement about it. Um,
By the way,
she,
Sue's very appreciative
her
that
eyes
I
start
have you.
wandering. Her eyes start
Yeah.
wandering off after a little while, but I can get a lot of it out here. That's why I
Sue's
really.
very appreciative of being able to send me down to the basement for 2 hours and have me just kind of, you know, talk nonstop about this with you and kind of punch myself out.
Yeah, like that's why I was just amping that we weren't able to chat like last week. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, like these industries. I mean, robotics, it hasn't even started yet. Like it's that I listened to Sam Altman last year, like yesterday. He was in an interview, a Bloomberg interview, and he said, you know, I think he was asked about the skeptics, and he was like, look, I think when people start seeing robots walking down the street doing jobs for people, I think they'll start really noticing it. Then I was like, and he was like, this isn't far away, and I was like, holy shit, that's incredible, and like I have no doubt it's not far away. I mean, you look at the videos online that you see, like I see, I mean, you never see them on LinkedIn, but you see them on Twitter and stuff. Like, man, these things are just like.
Oh, the Boston Robotics one. Did you see the
I mean, they're
breakdancing
just like moving
robot?
like humans now. Like
Yeah.
and you've got these like AI models you can plug into their sort of like brain. Like, I mean, this is not far away. Like, it is absolutely not. Um, I mean, none of this stuff has even started yet, and you've got 50% of Power BI users not even using AI yet. It's just like honestly, I just want to like I'd rather some days I read LinkedIn and I want to bang my head against the wall rather than read it. Like that's how I feel sometimes. I have a theory. Okay, I think this. I'm pretty confident this is going to play out. I think there is a lot of people like me and kind of like you who will get disillusioned by what they're getting fed in some of these like bigger platforms. And I think we've kind of already started to see it, like because LinkedIn just want to show you like Microsoft stuff. Twitter just wants to show you like what Elon Musk wants to show you, and I think there's going to be this like distribution, like of social is going to totally change. Like I think there's going to be a lot of social, a lot more social than like just a lot more avenues to go and hang out. And Reddit is also this like terrible place to go hang out and like you know I won't say how I feel when I go there. But
But there are some corners of Reddit that are incredibly like friendly and encouraging and
yeah,
positive. It's like Reddit is not a monolith either.
Yeah.
And there's some horrible places on Reddit that I'm like, oh, it's like I bleach
Yeah.
my, bleach
But
my
I just think
eyes.
these new avenues are gonna get created. The other option you have is like Facebook, where supposedly everything is like AI generated there now, and just like because this is the other issue is like these platforms are just inundated with this AI. It's just it's not AI slop per se, like what a lot of people say, but it's that it's like AI's done run over it, like and it's sort of massaged by AI, for lack of a better term. And the image generators have got good now. So like you're always seeing AI memes and stuff like that. So I just think that there's a lot of things converging where I think people are just going to become a bit more disillusioned with a lot of these historic platforms, and they're going to start moving outwards. And I think it's kind of already happening. Like a lot of people left Twitter, but what's that?
Substack seems to
Substack.
be kind of,
I didn't even realize, but Substack is now a social media site.
mhm.
And I was looking at it and was going like that was like really like got my interest. I was like, holy shit, these guys have realized that there's a lot of value in turning their readers into followers of these writers, and it makes a lot of sense. And then you hear that ChatGPT is going to come out with something as well, which I think would be really really interesting. And I think there's going to be more. Like I was like, because I was even thinking, Stack Overflow is totally stuffed. Stack Overflow should become a social media place. It should become a location to collaborate with other developers. Like this is what I think the internet might be sort of turning into is like these just like tons of these communities. So anyway, like I actually think that's a good thing. I really think that's a good thing because so much power has been put into these bigger platforms. They'll still be powerful, but I think that there'll be an opportunity to move out into other places. Because the last point I want to make is like, I know that you can get value out of these platforms. I know you can. But, personally, I just get to a point where I just want to surround myself with people that believe what I believe. Like I want to be in it all day, every day. I don't want to be having to deal with people second guessing what I believe anymore. Like it just drags me down. It just like stops me working hard on what I'm seeing and just because they don't see it. Like I don't want to have to deal with their issues with it or them not believing. Like, you know, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. That's just I want to be immersed. I want to be absolutely immersed in this new opportunity, and I just don't want to look back. And I feel many others might come to that conclusion eventually too.
So many issues to unpack there. For me, I kind of, I think the thing we've lost societally is shared experience. That it's kind of like we all kind of join our own communities and do our own things, and there's just nothing really tying kind of the whole community together. And I have lots of problems with LinkedIn. But the thing I love about LinkedIn is if you're a serious data person, you're on LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
the fact that you can talk to, book authors and, world-class experts, and they're just right there, and it's like often many of them in the same conversation. And there's something incredibly valuable about the fact that kind of a huge portion of the community is in one place, and that place has pros and cons.
Yeah.
um, but the community itself, I think, is remarkable. And I kind of feel like if we all split off into, our own fragments with just the people who believe what we believe, we lose something really important. And the thing I find is even now, I kind of feel in a bubble. I love our conversations, but we are not representative of anything. We are kind of at the far end of the extreme, I think, in terms of, time spent, belief in AI, kind of where we are on the curve. And I kind of feel like if I was in a community with just people like us, I would totally lose the sense of what's going on out in the world. You start to it's kind of like when we had the expert team at Enterprise DNA, and I would spend hours a day talking with that group, and it's an amazing group. And it's kind of incredible to see what all those folks have gone on to do.
Mm.
But it also hindered me in the sense that I began to think that was the Power BI community, and it wasn't. You know,
Mm,
it's like, yeah, it's like you talk to that group, and then, like I would talk to Greg Deckler, and he would say, well, according to my data, 75% of people using Power BI just use a flat file. And you're like, wow, I've got people building, the people I'm talking to are building incredible data models, and, with disconnected tables and bridge tables and virtual relationships. And, you know, the majority of the world is throwing stuff in an Excel flat file, and
mm.
I feel like if you lose touch with that, you lose something.
Yeah. No, look, you make completely like valid points. I like, and I don't disagree with any of those. And yes, you know, I don't want to be, I don't want to go into some cult and like, and just believe one way and not see, all of reality. But I just feel like, honestly, lately, I feel like LinkedIn is not reality. It's Microsoft's reality. Like that is what I have felt lately, for months now, actually, and that's fine. They own LinkedIn. They can do whatever they want. It's just I am seeing a reality that is very, very different. Like AI is changing what is possible now. And it's kind of like how everyone wants to move to San Francisco and Silicon Valley and be immersed in the technological change, right? So that they can be a part of it. Like I feel when I read LinkedIn that it's just dragging me back. It just drags you back, into not changing, into being obsessed with enterprise security and being like just all these things that stop you from like actually doing the next thing, doing the new thing. And that's where I want to be in my mindset and where we are as a business is, that's where I want to be. And like I'd rather just in most cases, I'd rather have a smaller community and just be absolutely immersed in it, just like how everyone is immersed within Silicon Valley or San Francisco. Like, I'm not saying that that's where you should spend like all of your time. And I still
Yeah.
have, look, I still have I have more interactions on LinkedIn now than I've had for years through like just messages and things like that. But just in terms of the information diet that you get there, I've really been finding it incredibly frustrating, the last few months. Some of the comments that you see, you think this is why there's so much hesitancy and why a lot of businesses aren't using AI is because of what they're being shown, like what they're seeing online, right? Like so much skepticism. We've both dealt with it, haven't we? Like we've both
Yeah.
dealt with like
Yeah.
so many skeptics out there. I mean, there's still today like just skeptics about, is ChatGPT going to be successful? I'm just like, are you brain
Did
dead?
AI
ChatGPT is
hallucinate
going to
so
be
much
one of
that
the most
it's not?
valuable is going to be one of the most valuable companies in the world. There's like no stopping them. How could you doubt them right now? Like it's just stupidity. Anyway,
Yeah,
I've
and
got stronger views today, I think. My views are a bit stronger than normal.
I totally get what you're saying, and it's like there are times I feel like that too. It's like you want that encouragement, you want people pushing you further in the same direction. Like
Mm,
it's kind of like you know there are there are people who are kind of doing the things I'm doing and are out ahead of me, and it's like they're like, come on, like check this
mm,
out,
mm.
and that is really great and encouraging, and I love spending time with the people who are out ahead of me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I also really do like the people who are saying at some level, be careful, like that you can get caught up in your enthusiasm and overlook some important things.
Mm,
And
mm.
there's some really insightful folks that I'm kind of hooked in with through LinkedIn, who are kind of, I would say we talked about this kind of the last time, kind of the constructive skeptics. And I find it keeps me grounded in terms of I can get so enthusiastic about this and just think, it was funny because there was a point where, you know, like with security, I'm like, screw it. I've been hesitating, kind of connecting certain things to MCP. Screw it. I'm gonna connect them, and what happens, happens. And I thought, depending on who I'm talking to, that either gets reinforced or gets questioned. And
Yeah.
I think it's still good for me to be around both. I mean, it's like I feel like our conversations are what inspire me to do more and to
Mm,
push, keep pushing out further on the boundary. And then there are
Mm.
some that are, kind of grabbing me by the collar and saying, you know, you might want to give that a little more thought.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You are right. And there's many stakeholders out there, isn't there? Like, but it's becoming like a personal thing. It's just like I want to be out, and maybe it's because of like where I'm at entrepreneurially, or like with like owning a small business, trying to grow, right? Like it's always I've got a very different view on things or than someone who's in a large organization and has got a lot of risk to manage, and they could get fired if something goes wrong, right? Like so look, I get it. I'm not delusional to not account for all of that stuff, but I'm just personally in a place where I just want to be inspired every day. Like I have never been more. I don't think I've ever been more excited about business and what's possible and the opportunities than right now. Like right now, and like having to read skepticism every day just drags me down. Like it's just
Yeah.
it just doesn't do anything for me at this point at this stage. Even though I get it, like I get the skepticism. I think some of it is totally unreasonable, but that's fine. That's fine. But I just most days I find like I just don't want to see this stuff anymore. It's not serving me. It's not serving my goals. It's not serving where we're trying to take the business. And you know, it's kind of like in politics, right? Like, yes, you can listen to the other side for so only for so long, and then you're just like, okay, I can't handle it anymore. I can't listen to your view on the world or you having to listen to that day in and day out is just pretty difficult, right? Like you kind of have your views and you just want to stick to them and you want to carry on. Like AI is a very, in your career, have you come across something in changing of of business or commerce that has had this disparity of views on anything? Like I can't remember
No,
anything.
no.
There's such a divergent of view. Like some people think, AI is going to take over, like way down, take over the world, and then others think it's like going to save the world. Every bad thing in the world is going to be solved by AI. You know,
And then
but then
some
there's
people think
everything in
it's like a
between.
total non-factor. Like, it just
Yeah,
hallucinates and it's
everything
not
in between.
worth anything. It's a big scam.
I know it's a religion at this point. Like there's just such diverging views on. I've never seen anything like it. But like
Yeah.
I'm in the camp where I'm more on the positive side of like what's possible now. Like I was sort of probably neutral for a while, but now I'm just like I moved way up the curve. I'm just like, holy crap, this is just such a like this is a once in a career moment. Well, I've got to be all in here. And that's just mentally where I want to be. And continue like I mean, it gets back to like continually seeing skepticism and those who don't believe it just drags me down. It just drags my energy down now. So, that's kind of, I guess, circling back, like that's kind of I think more people will be like this. Like I really do. I really feel like they'll get some sort of insight and they'll be like, oh, like I did and like what you did, and you're like, wow, this is a new way. This is going to change like how we do stuff.
It's kind of like one of the things I had on my list was, kind of how do you interact with people who don't interact with this at all? And to me, it's like, you know, I kind of look and we've talked about this too, but it's like I just have this feeling like, man, just everything is going to change. I think the world in 10 years is going to be unrecognizable from what it is now.
Yep.
And I don't know what that's going to look like, but it ain't going to look anything like what we see today. I mean, even
Mm,
what we talked about, about how we use computers, how we interact with technology, it's going to be totally different. And
100%,
I
like,
think that,
yeah.
I think we see that, for what we do, but I think when all of a sudden the people who are not interacting with it start going, whoa, this is huge.
Mm,
That's going to be a real turning point. And I think the thing I worry about is by the time that kind of hits everybody's radar, the concrete is going to be way set, in terms of policy, in terms of who the players are, in terms of
yeah.
ability to regulate,
Yeah.
and it's really funny because I think I am I am kind of a wide-eyed optimist in the short term
Mm,
and a really dark pessimist in the long term.
Mm.
I do not see this ending well. It's interesting because, I, I kind of some of these question my own, my own involvement in that. Not that, I'm having any big voice, but it's kind of like I am really like at an individual level, I'm like, this is the most fascinating movie I've ever sat through. I said
Yeah.
that to a friend today, that I don't even watch. I've always my whole life been a huge movie fan, and I don't even watch movies anymore because they all seem kind of formulaic and not interesting compared to the movie that's playing out every day here. And it's the most
I,
interesting story I've ever seen play out. And so I'm involved in the sense that I am kind of a fascinated spectator, and
mm,
it's like
mm,
I see it as the most important and interesting change I've ever seen. But at
mm.
the same time, it's like I do have days where I'm like, man, this is headed somewhere in the long term that I don't think I'm gonna like. I don't
I
know.
am
Do you feel that, or do you
n-
find yourself optimistic about the
I
long run?
am probably one of the most optimistic people in the world right now about what's going to be what's coming. I just see abundance. I do. I do. I just look, I'm not blind to the negative externalities. Like there is going to be tons. Absolutely tons. Just like there was with the internet, just like there was with any technological revolution. You got to remember the industrial revolution supposedly played out over 30 years and actually wasn't
Yeah.
actually that great for a lot of people. Like this is, I mean, I'm not a historian, but that was kind of what I've heard and what I've read. So in the long term, it was like instrumental in so many things. It made life so much better. Like I just think this is the biggest unlock for humanity I've ever seen in my life. Like I just think so optimistically about what's possible individually, from a economic point of view. Like I've just never seen a big opportunity. And look, and I actually think that we probably, like both of us, are inherently skeptical. Like I would almost say that. Like I never believed, I never really understood crypto. I never understood blockchain. I never understood like Web 3.0 or whatever. Like I was not that I was like probably skeptical. I mean, they probably are a thing and they probably will be a thing, but never not that big. But like what I see with AI is just everything changing in front of our eyes, like right now. I mean, I'm just it's just absolutely incredible. What I'm able to do like personally is just unbelievable. Like I feel like anyone who was an analyst could honestly start their own business tomorrow building AI applications. Like that's how achievable it's become. Like you can change your life, you can change your business with AI. Like everything is changing in front of our eyes. Like, there's just never been a bigger inflection point. This is where all the opportunities are ever. Like imagine regretting not getting into the internet like when it first came out. Like this is that 5 times over. Like it's this
Oh,
this is what's happening. Maybe more.
and I feel that same pull. And that's where the enthusiastic part of me is.